Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Roshan Jahan Ahmed and today we will discuss about MBCT or Mindfulness Based Cognitive Therapy, which is a topic from Unit 9 of Psychology Paper 2 for UGC NET examination with Psychology as your Paper 2. So let's get started then. So let's first introduce the topic. So this is MBCT, which is Mindfulness Based Cognitive Therapy, and from the name it is quite evident that it is a collaboration of cognitive behavioral therapy plus mindfulness meditative practices, and it was originally a relapse prevention treatment for individuals with major depressive disorder and also used in substance abuse disorders, and it is based on ICS model. ICS stands for Interacting Cognitive Subsystems, and I really want to make a video on ICS model because I don't want to leave any topic which is related to the subtopic given in our syllabus in each unit for UGC NET examination, because you never know what type of questions can pop up in the examination. So next video is on ICS model, but for now let's continue with MBCT, which is mindfulness based cognitive therapy. Now this is a group intervention program and it lasts for 8 weeks, and there is a weekly course of 2 hours and 1 day long course after the 5th week, and most of the practice is done outside the class. That means the client practices the methods which he learns in his or her home as well, and the practice is not confined to the class where the therapy takes place. So one needs to practice this in his or her daily life. Now, who are the proponents of MBCT? John Teasdale in 1991 developed it, and later Zindel Segal and Mark Williams also developed this therapy, and this is partially based on mindfulness based stress reduction or MBSR program, which was developed by John Kabat-Zinn. As we all know, MBSR is also based on mindfulness. And what are some of the CBT inspired methods in MBCT? The first and foremost is educating the client. As we all know that in CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy, it's really important to educate the client regarding the disorder or regarding the etiology and also the therapy itself. So it's very important to educate the client, and in case of MBCT, the client is educated about major depressive disorder because MBCT particularly targets major depressive disorder symptoms. And also the second thing which MBCT practitioners teach the client is the role of cognition in depression. So the client is made aware of the fact that his or her cognition has a role to play in his or her depressive symptoms, that one's thought pattern can also lead to depression, and the role of thinking is emphasized. Now, what are some of the mindfulness inspired methods in MBCT? Because as we all know that MBCT is a collaboration of both CBT and mindfulness. So mindfulness includes being aware of things in the present and not focusing on the past or future. So one has to be really aware of every minute details regarding one's present. And this allows the client to be more apt to deal with current stressors and distressing feelings with a flexible and accepting mindset rather than avoiding and prolonging them. So instead of escaping from the problems or the distressing feelings, the client is encouraged to deal with the stressors with a flexible and accepting mindset. And one of the examples of the methods used in mindfulness based cognitive therapy is decentering. And what does decentering mean? Decentering means to focus on becoming more aware of the incoming thoughts and feelings and accepting them, but not attaching or reacting to them. So you take a third person view of the whole situation by not attaching your feelings towards the incoming thoughts. By becoming more aware about thoughts can help them recognize the thoughts which lead to rumination and then depressive state. So the awareness leads the client to recognize the thoughts which then leads to his depressive state by making him dwell on the past events and ruminating over them and feeling sad about those. So it's just about being more aware and then avoiding rumination, which leads to depression. So this is decentering. We will try to understand decentering with the help of an example. In my next slide, I have included an example of decentering. So, for example, a client goes through the feeling of I can't do anything, or I can't do anything right, or I'm good for nothing. So, whenever he or she goes through this thought or this statement comes to his mind, he or she can actually take a step back and see that it's not a fact about him or her. And it's not necessary to believe this statement. Rather, it's just a thought which crossed his mind and it can be altered by way of disputation. That means the person can ask himself or herself that, should I really believe in this statement? Has this always been the case that I have not done anything right or I can't do anything? So should I really believe this, or should I actually dispute this? And is it causing me any distress? So it is all about recognizing this and taking a third person view, taking an objective view about the statement or about the thought which crosses his or her mind. Any negative thought for that matter, be it I can't do anything or I am not good enough. So any kind of negative statement can be actually disputed by making a third person view of the situation. Now, what are some of the goals of MBCT? To avoid the cycle of self-criticism, ruminating over past events, and dysphoric moods which are a consequence of reacting to negative thinking patterns. So whenever we come across any negative thinking pattern, we always react in a negative manner because any negative thinking pattern will lead to negative reaction, and that negative reaction will again lead to some negative events such as self-criticism, ruminating over past events, and dysphoric mood. So it becomes a cycle, and the goal is to avoid this cycle by not reacting to any negative thinking pattern immediately, but to actually judge the situation or judge the thinking rationally. And another goal is to interrupt the automatic cognitive processes that can trigger a depressive episode. So in CBT, we have learned that automatic cognitive processes, these can trigger a depressive episode. And the learning outcome of MBCT can be summarized with this particular phrase, which is reflect instead of react. So instead of reacting to any negative feeling immediately, we should actually reflect. That's the learning outcome of MBCT. Now, what are some of the methods to be applied? Number 1, cultivate mindfulness in daily life and practice guided meditation. Number 2, learning how to pay attention or concentrate with purpose in each moment and without judgment. And another one, learn to be aware of feelings and focus less on changing feelings. So we need to be really attentive of our present situation, be it mundane daily activities such as eating your meal, by focusing on each and every flavor that the food emanates. So being aware of each and every moment of your present, and by avoiding dwelling over past or be anxious about the future. Another method is to learn mind management techniques leading to high metacognitive awareness. Another method is to learn to accept feelings instead of escaping them. And the last one is learn to respond in a positive manner to your situation. So thank you for watching till the end. We will meet again in the next video with ICS, and take care. Bye bye.